sweetest littlest love. Shh, 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 shh. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here to do Jace's second and third week update. So the first thing to start out with, going off from my first week update, is Jace did have his second week appointment, and it was confirmed that he gained back his birth weight. His initial birth weight was 7 pounds 11 ounces, and then after his first week visit, he weighed in at 7 pounds 5 ounces. And at this week's visit, he weighed 7 pounds 12 ounces, so he gained back all of his birth weight plus 1 ounce. Other than that, all of his measurements remained the same. Something else we kind of noticed during his second week was that he was looking very jaundiced. His skin was very yellow, as well as his eyes, and they did do a bilirubin test on him, which determines kind of the efficiency of his liver, and it did come back slightly elevated. I think the level was at 8.6 if I remember correctly, but they said it wasn't enough for him to receive phototherapy, so it would just have to be something we'll keep an eye on, and if it gets any worse, we would have to go back. But looking at him now, he's gotten a lot less yellow, so whatever was causing him to be jaundiced has gone away. They did tell me that sometimes breast milk can cause the babies to be jaundiced. I'm not sure why. He's pinked up now. Another thing I noticed on him physically is that he's formed a lot of acne on his face, and at first I was kind of concerned about this, but the doctors and my family did tell me that acne on the baby can be normal, and it comes from the mother's hormones actually. But some of his acne was pretty bad, and I felt really bad. I tried to wash his face with just a washcloth and water, and I think it helped a little bit, but his acne has kind of receded now, so hopefully it doesn't come back anymore. It's kind of come and gone, I've noticed, over the past few days. Hi, bug. I love you so much, beautiful. I do really feel like he has grown so much, though, especially in this third week. I do feel like he's gotten bigger, and I do feel like he's gained more weight, and I do really notice he's gotten so much more hair. I'm not sure if it's still blonde. I think it's more of a darker blonde color now, like almost a light brown color, but I can't really tell, and the lighting here is brighter than the natural lighting, so it's gonna probably seem a little bit lighter on camera than it actually is. But yeah, his eyes have remained the dark blue, which I find really interesting. They're like a dark denim blue color. I feel like his face looks a little more like fatty and a little more like baby, instead of like the newborn face where they kind of look like an old man and they're kind of more shriveled. I feel like his face is fattened up a little bit, and he's gotten a little bit cuter. But it's really amazing how quickly they change and grow, especially in these first couple weeks. I'm sure when I go back and look at his his very newborn stuff, like within his first week of life, I'm already gonna see differences and changes within him than there was 2 weeks ago. Hi, Buggy. In terms of other developments, I have noticed him moving around more. He has been way more active and much more alert during the day during this third week. He has periods of being awake for longer, and he doesn't sleep all the time. During his first week and even the second week, I noticed he would be up for probably 5 or 10 minutes within like 2 or 3 intervals during the day. And now he has longer periods of being awake, sometimes 30 minutes and even hours. And during that time, I like to sing to him and talk to him and just kind of interact with him and play with him to let him know I'm there and to increase our bond. I've also started to notice that he makes little noises and little coos. A lot of the times when he's feeding, he'll do it, but he'll also do it like randomly sometimes when he's sleeping, and some of them are very, very cute and endearing, and other times I hear noises that come out of him that scare the crap out of me. In terms of his motor skills, I already mentioned in my 1 week update that he had pretty good motor skills. He could throw his head around, and he could lift his head up off of the ground if you put him on his stomach, and he's gotten even more so. Around the second week, I kind of noticed him, when I put him on his stomach, kind of lifting his head and moving his arms around and kind of almost trying to crawl, but not really. He's really like trying to exercise himself more, and I feel like he has a lot of strength in him, and he can even turn his head on his own from side to side. I don't know if all of these are normal developments for his age, but I thought it was pretty remarkable that he can turn his head in the middle of the night. When he's laying on his back, he can just kind of turn himself. He can't fully turn his body up, but he can kind of roll onto the side a little bit. But I thought that was pretty amazing for such a young baby. Some of his not so exciting developments has been that his sleeping schedule has kind of changed. He can get pretty fussy when it comes to sleep. We have been having a hard time getting him to sleep correctly and sleeping at certain intervals of time. I think primarily because he's used to being held during the day. He has a hard time going to sleep at night unless I'm holding him in my arms. If I'm holding him, he'll fall asleep very quickly, and he loves to just be held and fall asleep. But when we put him in his bassinet, he gets very upset and very fussy, and he really just wants to be held at night and fall asleep. We've tried various things. We've tried swaddling. He kind of likes to swaddle, but he's kind of like indifferent about it. Like, he doesn't mind being swaddled, but one thing he doesn't really like is having his arms constricted. So we usually, when we swaddle him, we leave his arms free. But that also causes another problem because we do give him the binky at night to go to sleep with, because he does need to self-soothe himself, because he does get upset, like I said, when we leave him alone in the bassinet. But usually when his arms are free, he'll knock the binky out of his mouth, and then when he does, he'll get fussy, and he'll do this several times throughout the night, which also will wake us up. So yeah, we've tried a few things. I've tried holding him and then placing him in the bassinet, but he wakes up every time. The bassinet is right next to me, and I think his vision is, it's not all there yet, so he doesn't really notice that I'm there. And I've tried talking to him and singing to him to let him know I'm there, but he really just wants that connection and that warmth from me. So it's been hard to kind of juggle that and get my own sleep. In addition to this, I've also really struggled with breastfeeding. During my first week of pregnancy, I had bruises and blisters on my nipples. It was extremely and excruciatingly painful. They were black and blue. It was just a horrible experience, and I would dread every time he would nurse, because it would just be so painful for me. I have gotten better as far as latching. However, now I feel in the past 2 weeks that I've been struggling with milk production. I have tried pumping, and a lot of women really made it seem to me that pumping was going to be this magical solution that was going to solve all of my problems, but it really didn't. I tried pumping with him, and I realized that I really wasn't getting that much milk. And I've tried pumping, and I've tried feeding him in various different ways to try to increase my milk production. I find it extremely challenging to even stay up for 10 minutes to feed him in the night. And a lot of the times I will fall asleep and I'll wake up and he'll be still sitting there either nursing or he just finished nursing and he pops off. But his cluster feeding has been kind of a big issue. I haven't been able to get out and really do much or do anything. I've kind of been stuck with him in the bed, not even really able to do things around the house, make any food, get any water, go to the bathroom. Like, every time I'll get up to do something, he knows that I'm gone and he'll cry. His sleep schedule has been pretty erratic though. There's most days, like I said, he's been doing the cluster feedings where he wants to be up every hour and a half to eat. And that usually happens during the night, unfortunately. However, there have been a couple nights within the past 2 weeks where he slept an extremely long amount of time that worried me. In fact, on Easter, he actually slept 6.5 hours. And that freaked me out because they say you shouldn't let your newborn go without more than 4 hours without eating. However, I also have heard people say, and I've read that, they'll wake up when they're hungry, and don't wake them up in the middle of the night to feed them if they're going to sleep. There was also another night where he slept for 5 hours, and a couple other nights where he slept for 4. And 4 might sound average, but for him, it's not. Usually it's like, around 2 hours, but on the bad nights, it's every hour. But usually around 12 o'clock, I'll try to put him to sleep. I'm also not sure how good his eyes are yet, but there have been a couple times where I really thought he could actually see my face, like when I held him close, just by his expression. And I noticed that he's really starting to observe more and look more in the world around him. He's awake a lot more, and I see him looking around a lot more. He really loves patterns and kind of interesting designs. We have a tapestry in our bedroom, and he loves staring at that. And he loves any kind of like stripes and polka dots and any kind of like cool patterns. I'm not sure what colors they can see at this age, or if they can see any colors. Like I said, I'm not really sure when he starts to be able to observe more and be able to see with more clarity. So Jace also did have his first outing around 2 weeks. We had some family from New Hampshire come visit. It was my aunt and my cousin, and they came to visit him. And we went to a Panera, and it was kind of like really difficult. Like, I didn't realize how difficult it was going to be to have an outing with him yet. We were here and they were meeting the baby, and then we decided to go out for lunch, and we were sitting in the car, and I sit in the back with him because he's still so young, and sometimes he will fuss, and I just want to be there to make sure he's okay. And by the time we got to the Panera, he was wailing, and I knew he was hungry, and the Panera was really, really crowded that day. So I was like, okay, just go ahead. I'll stay back with him, and I'm going to feed him in the car. So they went in and they ordered for me and everything. They got a table, and I'm feeding him in the back, and it was probably about like 15 minutes or so, and I was just, nursing him in the parking lot. And then like these families came into the cars next to me, and they were chatting and they were talking, and it really kind of was awkward. Like, I wasn't sure if they could notice me in the car or if they could see what I was doing, but it was just kind of uncomfortable. And then after I was done nursing him, I brought him inside to the Panera, and then of course he had a dirty diaper, so we brought him in to change him, and he messed up his outfit, so I had to change his outfit too. Finally, we were able to like sit down and have our meal together, and of course, like, everyone at the Panera was like so interested in him because he's so little, and they were like oohing and ahhing over him. Also, getting him ready to go out any place is really difficult. I find that by the time I say I'm gonna be there, I usually have to add on another hour or so, just because he's so unpredictable. He might want to eat like sooner than I intended for him to want to eat. Or he makes a mess all over the place, or, I'm trying to look for one of his papers because, the house isn't exactly the cleanest right now because we don't really have the time to put in as much upkeep around here. I kind of just try to do the bare minimum, or I just forget something and we have to go back. So it's been really challenging to kind of think of everything, and also, think about the unexpected coming from him, if he's going to need to be consoled, if he's gassy, if he needs to be changed, if he needs to be fed. Another thing too is he's been very, very gassy, and he's been, having lots of fits about it. So I'm not really sure if it's colic or if it's acid reflux or what it is. I'm going to have to speak with the doctor the next time we go. But for the past 2 weeks, he's been very, very gassy and very upset. Did get Mylicon for him, which is anti-gas relief, but I'm not sure if it's certain foods I'm eating, or if I'm just not doing a good job of getting the burps out when I'm done nursing him. There was a couple times where I did have something spicy, and then I remembered that I probably shouldn't have done that, but I'm just so used to and accustomed to certain foods in my diet that I don't really think about it. So I tried cutting those foods out, and I think it did help a little bit, but he still is suffering from a lot of gas pain. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, please hit the like and subscribe button if you can relate to anything I talked about in this video, or if you enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching. Bye.